We're mic'd up with Montgomery.
Welcome to Real Talk, where real estate meets real conversations.
I'm Sean Harvey.
I'm Brittany Newhart.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi, I did.
What's up today?
Not much. We just had a meeting. We
always have meetings.
Snacks. There's always a realtor meeting with snacks.
Yeah.
So it's great.
We like our snacks and we like our meetings.
Gotta give people their
Well, we go to our
somehow.
meetings. I don't know if we like all of our meetings, but we
Yeah.
go to them.
No, they're great. They're great.
Yeah, it's all
It's
all
always
good
fun to get
information.
Yeah, it's always fun to get together, especially every realtor is usually on their phone and late. Well,
Yeah.
I was. I don't know
I
if
was going to
everybody else
say,
is
it
late.
says the late person.
I was definitely late. So,
And then she hid right behind a post.
I did. I sat in the worst spot. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just sit here, best seat in the house. I couldn't see half the people.
Yeah.
So whatever. It works. So have you ever heard the saying, like, like WWJD, like what would Jesus do? We're gonna do like a WWSB do.
There you go.
Yep.
I have heard that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's gonna be our little.
There's a
deal
TV show
today.
called What Would You Do?
Really?
Mhm.
Huh, I don't watch TV. I watch Paw Patrol. That's it.
I don't watch Paw Patrol.
Actually, we're getting into some other weird like YouTube shows, so it's getting
that's
weirder.
Even better. You're going down the YouTube thing.
It's bad. It's bad. Except like Rhodes is really addicted to like car wash. Like he loves going to the car wash, so he watches videos of it.
Oh.
So we don't have to go all the time.
He'll have a clean car.
I guess. So,
Yeah.
Whatever. So we are going to do so buyer scenarios. So I'm gonna ask you a question we're gonna talk it through, okay? So what would you do? Right. What would you do if your dream home came on the market? Your absolute dream home, but it was $25,000 over your budget. What would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
Is it over my personal budget? Over my lender's budget?
Both. Let's go both. Okay. Over personal budget, I would say calculate with your lender how much.
Because at the end of the day, $25,000 on a 30-year mortgage is not a lot of money if you can swing it.
Yeah.
It's probably like $20 a month.
Yes. But now your lender says, nope.
Can't do it.
Here's the question. This is the scenario that's hard. Okay. Is it $25,000 over the budget, like just the asking price?
Right.
Because then just offer $25,000 less and be like, this is the best I can do.
Right.
But if they won't come down, like their hard line is $25,000, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna walk away.
You gonna walk away?
Because the problem is that if you're $25,000 over your budget already, and you try to figure out a way to make it work, you're already at the top of what you should be spending, and then you're gonna try and make it work by asking a family member, which is not going to make a good relationship.
Nope.
And you're just going to have more money to pay back. So you're digging yourself a deeper hole.
Yeah.
So it's your dream house, and maybe you'll get there someday. Today's not the day.
Here's the thing. It's your dream house for now, but I feel like that changes.
It does.
Here's the thing. You haven't seen every single house out there. So there could be the exact same setup, but just a different area.
Or a little bit older.
There you go.
A little bit more dated.
Yep. And you sit on the market. They say no now. Maybe it sits on the market for a month or two and you come back to it.
Right.
And you offer them lower. But there's like the whole, like, you don't want to be house poor type of thing.
Yes.
Like you don't want to struggle every single month to make that house payment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree with the walk away. Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but
everybody has to set a boundary.
Yep.
Everybody.
Definitely.
And if they aren't willing to take your boundary, then move on.
Yeah. There's always that, like, what's the price that you're going to be okay with losing the house? But if you get it, you're also not going to be like, oh shit.
Right. What am
freaking
I
out?
Now? How am I pay for this?
Well, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to move in and you're going to break something. That's instantly happen. The water heater breaks. Boom.
And your payments are going to be so high that you're going to be so stressed that you're going to have to work every day for the rest of your life. And it's just, you're not going to be happy anyways.
Yeah. Then your marriage goes up in flames and then you're turning around.
It's like a divorce
and you have to sell it. Yeah. It's horrible. So just don't push it.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you do if you walked into a house, instantly fell in love, but it already has 3 offers on it?
I'd make a 4th.
Yep.
As long as I can afford it.
Exactly. Here's the thing. Like, yeah, there's 3 offers. Cool. 3 people are already fighting for it. Talk to your real estate agent. There's things that we can do to help make a really strong offer and give you options and stuff. Like, we can't tell you like, hey, number 1 and 2 are offering this much, let's offer more. But we can tell you like, okay, these are the things that make an offer great. And here's how we can help your offer for whatever you're comfortable with. But if you have a home sale contingency though, and nobody else does, it's going to be a little iffy.
Well,
it could, unless you have a high price.
Yeah.
Like, if it's one of those, like, it's at the top of your budget already.
Or maybe the seller's just like, yeah, I don't care. They're offering me the most money, and I got
Yeah.
6 months to wait, I'm great with that. That actually benefits me, so let's go.
Exactly. Because some people, it's like, I do not have time to clean out my house and I don't want to
Right.
move yet. So some people it works. Shouldn't say home sale contingency is the line.
My
But
last
if you
house,
offer under asking, you have a home sale contingency, you have inspection, you have a FHA loan, it's a little harder.
our last house we bought was through multiple offers.
Yeah.
It's stressful, so that's why I feel people's pain. But
Yeah.
if it was meant to be, it happens. If it's not, it's not.
And sometimes it falls through 3 times.
The
and it comes
first
to
house we had under contract fell through, so this
Mhm.
was the second choice.
Well,
And
that's the
honestly,
thing.
I'm grateful because this one's probably better for us.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. Okay. You lose, it has multiple offers. Turn around the next day, like, or the next minute that I get told there's an accepted offer, they're not taking yours, boom, put it in a backup offer.
Mhm.
Just do it right away, because then it defaults to that backup offer. Now you don't have to go through and have 3 offers
Yeah.
again in a week.
If there's nothing else on the market and you're
Right.
in love with
Right.
that house and you're just like, yeah, I'm willing to wait for it and see what happens, do the backup offer. If your backup offer
Yeah.
gets accepted, like Brittany said, if their inspection goes bad, if their financing falls through, you're next
Well,
in
because
line.
what happens as an agent with that seller, that offer 1 falls through and you have 2, 3, and 4 on the as a backup one, we're contacting 2, 3, and 4. You already, or as a backup in our head person, but you put in a backup offer, it instantly goes to
It locks
number
it in.
2. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
There's no messing around.
Right.
And it's
So,
already agreed to.
Yep.
Yep.
So, what would you do if the inspection found a foundation crack, but the seller offered a credit?
I'd have it fixed.
Yeah. Sometimes a foundation crack, houses just settle.
Yeah.
Okay. Over time, 100-year-old house, it just happens.
I have
There
never
is
seen
repairs to do.
I've never seen, and most of the time you can't see the foundation because it's behind walls.
Yes.
But I've never seen concrete that isn't cracked somewhere.
Right.
Not
It just
anywhere in
cracks.
my life.
That's literally why they cut relief lines into concrete, because it settles. It's going to settle. They cut spaces to where it settles more naturally.
Right.
But like the sidewalk, why is it not just one perfect line? Because it's going to settle.
Right. And
So is your
now
house.
there's the flip side of that where I have been in houses where the walls lean like this.
Yes.
That one I
Yes.
might step away from unless
Okay.
it's a heck of a crack.
Yeah. A crack can be repaired. A wall caving in can be repaired, but the price difference is very big.
Yes.
Okay.
So make sure you have your facts straight when you
Yes,
do that.
I would say talk to your inspector of, okay, what would a fix like this entail, and talk to a contractor, and then get to a point with a number,
Right.
and then go with that credit.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, the seller said they'll give us $1,000, cool, and the whole wall's caving in.
Yeah.
But $1,000 should fix it.
And
No,
there
get
are
a quote.
some houses, not very many, but once in a while you'll see a house where it sits like this because your foundation walls have pushed out so
Yeah.
far. Those make me a little nervous
Yeah.
personally.
It's creating more square footage.
Yeah, it's getting bigger as the
It's
years
getting
go on.
bigger.
But
for
the
some-
ceilings are getting shorter.
Yeah,
too.
it's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say get an actual quote from somebody who can fix it, not an inspector saying, oh, one time, like, there's some inspectors who are contractors, but sometimes they're like, well, I've seen somebody fix theirs for $1,000. Get the contractor in town who has time to fix it, who can fix it, and who's done it before.
Yeah.
Look at it, get you an actual estimate.
Yeah.
Then work on the credit,
Mhm.
because it doesn't make sense to do without it. What would you do if you loved the house but hated the neighborhood?
What kind of neighborhood are we talking about?
Okay.
Are we talking about a crack house next door?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the neighbor's
See-
bedroom looks right into my bathroom?
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. If I absolutely hated the neighborhood, then it doesn't matter, because you're always going to hate the neighborhood. You're always going
Right.
to hate where it's at. And then you might have a trouble selling it later. But if it's like your neighbors are like their backyard meets up to your backyard and there's no fence, put up a fence.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's a perfect house. Like, imagine what you can do to fix it and see if it's actually a doable thing.
Right.
If there's nothing that you can do to the house to
Right.
fix the neighborhood, then it's probably not a doable thing.
Somebody's running a salvage business out of their yard next door. That's
Right.
a different story.
Yeah. I was going to say, you can't change your neighbor's house. But if it's like I just don't like the backyard because there's no fence, okay, then let's change that.
Right.
But if you hate that you're by a school because it's busy every single morning at 8, you're not going to move to school. So
Right.
you might as well be open to other options.
Mhm.
There will be more houses.
There's
That's
always more houses.
There's always more houses. What would you do if you found out the home next door had a history of noise complaints or any other legal complaints?
Are we invited to the party or not?
Not. Never.
Not, no.
No.
Well, then I probably wouldn't buy the
Yeah.
house.
Here's
If
the
the
thing.
neighbors are too wild and they do it every weekend, whatever, it's gonna get old.
Here's my thought. I guess I'd talk to the neighbors around the area. Because what if it's one little old lady who just likes to nag on everybody and just complains about everybody? That person walked across the grass because there was something on the sidewalk
Mhm.
and she's complaining, calling the cops. Like, maybe I wouldn't take it to heart. But if you hear something and you ask around and there's 8 other people complaining about the same thing, maybe not.
Right.
But your neighbors, they know. They know what's going on in the
Oh, yeah,
neighborhood.
they do.
A realtor, we try to, but we don't know every single person's, outside of the 8 to 5. Like, we might be there during the day, but everybody else is at work. So it's like, we're not going to sit outside the house at 10 o'clock at night to see if it's still
But you're
noisy.
welcome to if you want.
Exactly. But it's like, talk to the neighbors because they're there.
Yeah.
They know the neighborhood. So, and if they don't sell you on it, maybe they just don't want you there.
Yeah.
We're going to do some seller scenarios. Those
Oh,
were the
boy.
buyer ones. So those are buying, but you're a seller now. So what would you do if you received a full price offer, but it was contingent on the buyer selling their home?
And that's the only offer I've got.
Yep.
I'd take it.
Yeah.
Because there's always a kick out clause.
Yep.
So if I do get another accepted offer, that one can either
Which we
move
should talk
forward.
about that someday because that changes so much.
It's a very long topic, though. Yeah, we
Yeah.
won't get into it today, but yeah, it does.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
a
would
good-
take it. I mean, there's a chance that they list their house and it's sold within 24 hours,
Right.
and then we're moving forward.
It's not the worst case scenario, especially when houses were going really fast. Like it could get a slower market, then maybe it's a little bit more difficult, but it's not the worst case.
No,
It's
not
not
at all.
the worst thing happen. Yes, there's more chances of it falling through, but
There's always a chance anyway.
exactly.
Until
So
the papers are signed.
exactly. And like you said, there's a kick out clause.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that another day because that is fun. What would you do if a buyer asked you to leave your appliances and hot tub? That's a dumb question because
Well,
most people do nowadays.
I'm going to leave. Most of the time, I'm going to leave my appliances anyways. And if I don't leave them, I'm going to replace them with something else.
Yeah. And
my hot tub, I would say
depends.
absolutely not.
Well, you'd say that, but then what if you're like, oh, but I want a new one? So
If the offer's good enough, it's staying.
Yeah.
So, and
Here's
then I
the
don't have to
thing.
move it.
So if we fill out a bill of sale and it has all that stuff on there and it has hot tubs on them, whatever, it has all these extra play sets. We left our place at our old house because we didn't have somewhere to store it while we were building. It wouldn't have made sense to pay for a storage unit for 6 months
Right.
to store some of the stuff. So yeah, there you go. There's that. You can leave whatever, but have it on the bill of sale too is what I
Yeah.
always
If
like.
anybody wants my house fully furnished, just let me know.
Exactly.
I don't want to
grab
move
my
any
underwear
of it.
and leave.
Yeah.
Yep, that's about it. Yep, there you go. No, it's pretty good. I'd say it's a pretty good chance that you're gonna have the appliances there. Out of all the appliances, washer and dryer seems to be the one that might not be there.
Yeah, right.
Dishwasher, if there just isn't one, nobody's usually unhooking that and taking it though.
No.
And hot tub, it's like 50-50. If somebody has a hot tub, it's kind of 50-50. One person doesn't want to drain it and then load it up and haul it and then reset it back
they're
up.
heavy. I mean, they're
Yeah.
stupid heavy.
And half the time the people who have hot tubs, that want a hot tub in the other place, either will buy a new one or
they're sick of taking care of it
they're
and
sick
don't
of
want
taking
it.
Exactly.
I have a hot tub.
Yeah.
I don't use it. But I have a
Exactly.
hot
But
tub.
you're gonna keep it and you're not gonna sell it. I'll make an offer later for you. What would you do if your house had 10 showings in the first week but no offers? You're
I
just
would
a buyer and you're not a real
probably
estate agent.
figure out what's going on because their price is probably too high.
Yeah.
More than likely, the price is ridiculously high. Because most of the time, somebody out of the 10 people will be able to imagine fixing something that's wrong with it.
Yeah.
But that price has got to be just way too high.
Yeah. I'd say you should walk through. Okay, I've got like a buyer seller packet type of thing, and it walks through and it says like things that you should do before showings. Like go through that, maybe see if it's what you're doing and stuff. See if there's something on there that you can improve to make it feel more cozy when you're coming in. But 9 times out of 10 is probably the price
Yeah.
or the neighborhood.
Yeah, people have a lot of imagination
That's
if the
hard.
price is right.
Yeah.
If the price is too high, that means they really like your house, but nobody's
Yeah.
paying you that much money
I
for
would
it.
say it's 50-50 on the neighborhood, because if somebody really hates the neighborhood, they're going to know before they even do the showing,
Right.
because they'll drive by.
Yeah.
But we'll see. What would you do if your neighbor listed their home $50,000 below yours? That's also a dumb question. It happens. It depends on the house.
Yeah, it depends on the house. So I would say Huron is kind of unique in that. If you go to Sioux Falls, you have big developments where all the houses were built within
exactly
2 years
the same.
and they're all the
Yeah.
same. If you're in Huron, you could have a $50,000 house next to a $500,000 house, and nobody's going to think anything of it because one was built in 1890 and one was built in 2024.
This one's 3,000 square foot. This one's
Right.
1,000.
That's honestly
completely
the way
different.
our market works.
Yeah. So 50,000, I wouldn't be too concerned with. If you're in the same neighborhood and you have the same year of house, about the same square footage, about the same garage, I'd maybe look at the updates that they did.
Right.
Like, have you never updated your house since it was built in 1960 and they did in
Mhm.
a complete remodel? There you go.
Yeah,
But
if somebody's 50,000 cheaper than you and they have the same house, you're probably going to be hurting.
yeah, definitely. I'd maybe ask for your market analysis.
Yeah.
Maybe there you go. What would you do if you received 2 offers? One is an all cash offer but lower, and one's finance but higher. I
How
guess
much higher?
Exactly. Okay, if it was a couple $1,000s, I don't know. What would you do? Take $2,000 off.
$2,000, and when we're talking cash,
One's
are we
cash.
talking inspections or no inspections?
I'd say yes to inspections on both.
Okay.
Okay, but maybe no appraisal. But an appraisal is whatever. But
For
It's not
2,000, I would probably take the cash just because it leaves the financing variable out of it.
yes.
Not that we have a lot of
and-
issues with that, but like if you're an FHA loan and there's flaking paint or some of those
Yes.
things, it all comes up on a loan.
Well, here's the thing. It's not, when I say an appraisal, like, it's nice to not have the appraisal. It's not because we're worried about the cost. We're worried about another person. So you have the inspector looking at things. Then you have the appraiser coming, and then they're telling the lender, hey, don't approve this because of the flaking paint.
Well, and then
It's like,
you've
oh my
also
God.
got buyers who have financing. And
Yeah.
if they get laid off from their job, that throws a wrench in things.
Yeah.
If they
If somebody
switch
shows up
jobs,
and has a check.
if their overtime gets cut back, if they buy a car, any of that changes on financing. Whether cash, it's laying there.
Yeah.
It's good.
And also, the cash part is nice because they could either close sooner if you need to close sooner. Just things go a little
Right.
bit quicker. You're not having all these hiccups throughout. So,
Yeah.
the next section, you ready for this?
I think
Investor and flipper.
so. Oh.
Ooh, yeah, I like this one. What would you do if a flip went $20,000 over budget halfway through?
That's how they all go.
Yeah, up the price.
Yeah.
Up the sale price so that if you can.
You can budget all you want in a
Yeah.
flip, but you're gonna spend
yeah.
10 to 20,000 more.
Every time you think it's gonna be fine, you didn't think about replacing the city meter and replacing all the plumbing.
Yeah, right.
That's what happens with
Mhm.
us. So, what would you do if your contractor stopped responding during a renovation? I would call my husband and be like, "Why won't you answer your phone?"
Yeah.
Because he's my contractor.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
I would get mad.
yeah.
Very mad. I'd get very vocal, and I wouldn't wait very long before I had
No.
an attorney reach out.
Yeah. I would also make sure that you're setting up a payment plan with them that you're both comfortable with.
Mhm.
Because we might say, hey, this is how we require things, but we'll work with people on certain
Right.
payment type of things. Because there shouldn't be a contractor out there that says you have to pay for everything up front right now
That's what I was
in
gonna
my
say.
pocket.
Yeah.
And then that's if that happens, I would very much so call
Right.
a couple other people. Because there's times where we require certain portions up front, but if we're ordering a bunch of material, but that's different.
I would pay
and then that
for
material you own.
materials.
Yeah.
Labor would be a tough one for me. I probably wouldn't pay for much labor until it's done.
Yeah. Unless they're starting off heavy with a lot of stuff. But even then, you can break it down monthly.
Mhm.
You can figure it all out. There's
Right.
a lot of different ways you can figure it out.
Because
to make
I don't get
both
paid
of
unless
you
your house
comfortable.
sells. Why you shouldn't get paid unless
Yeah.
the job gets done.
And
so.
here's the other thing. This is why shopping local with contractors and people is nice. If there's somebody from here, the chances are, like, you know them or they know them, they're going to show up.
Right.
Because if you have a bad experience, they take your money and run. What are they going to do? Run down the street? People are
Mhm.
going to find you. They're going
Right.
to say something. They're never going to have a job again in town. When you get these weird out of state contractors and that you don't know, like, that aren't big companies, yeah, I'd maybe be questioning things. Just some random person
Get
knocking on your door.
references.
Yes. And yeah. What would you do if you uncovered mold behind walls during demo? We've had this a million times.
Paint it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, kills. No.
Actually, I
Yeah.
have found a really good chemical that strips it off, kills it, and sanitizes it, and it works wonderful. I don't know the name
Yes.
of it, but it works wonderful.
First things first. If you can rip it out, if it's something you're already ripping it out, rip it
Right.
out, but be safe about it because there is whatever black mold, there's fine molds that
I
are
will
just
say that I have
moisture
talked
areas.
to a local company, and they said that 99% of it is mildew, and it's
Yes.
not black mold.
Right.
There's very, very rarely black mold, but there
Exactly.
is some.
So be safe about it. If you're already taking it out,
Right.
just take it out. But also, where did the mold come from?
Right.
Is it in a bathroom? Okay, then you have some water, probably from the shower or something like that. It
Put a
could
vent
be.
pan.
But if it's somewhere where there's like no moisture, something else is leaking. So
Mhm.
you should probably figure that out
Yeah.
first, or also on top of. But yes, there is ways to kill it if you need to keep whatever structure's there. If it's a structural wall, whatever.
And if
There's
you're not
ways to
sure
kill
about
it.
doing it yourself, which is fine, hire a professional.
And there's
people that do that.
Yeah, and there's mold testing people, and there's all the things if you
Yeah.
need to. So, but I would not just put the drywall back up and ignore it.
No,
'Cause
strip it down, clean
it's
it off
there
at least,
for-
and figure out what the issue was.
Yeah, it's there for a reason. And if it's in a bathroom, yes, there's times where it's just from the moisture of somebody taking a shower. But 9 times out of 10, it could be from something leaking
But
behind
if
the
you
walls.
see, so sometimes people walk into a house and they say, "Oh, there's some mold in the basement." Okay, mildew, mold, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's fine. But if you're in love with that house, don't let that be a complete deal breaker. Maybe you just need a dehumidifier, and you
Yes.
could have it cleaned, and it wouldn't be an issue ever again.
Yep.
So don't
Okay.
I mean, you don't
Yeah.
need to just completely run away from the house because you think, "Oh my gosh, it's going to kill me." It's really not.
Well, and okay, think about the temperature right now. It's hot and it's humid.
Right.
That's all mold needs. Mildew, mold,
Right.
fungus, anything
Yeah.
needs is hot and moisture.
I am
And days is all it sometimes takes.
I'm a big supporter. If you have a basement, you should have a dehumidifier in the basement.
Yes.
I don't care how wonderful or crappy
You don't
your
want to go down
basement
and
is.
dump it, hook it up to the hose to your
Yes,
drain.
just put one in there and
Just
let
do
it
it.
run 24/7.
Yep.
It will change the whole environment of your house.
Yes.
If you don't have one, get one.
Yep. I agree. What would you do if you had a buyer back out the day before closing? This is an investor flipper question. It's kind of a seller question, but I mean, it happens to everybody. That's where I'm getting at.
Unfortunately, it does happen.
Yeah,
Not
it's
very
hard to-
often. But I mean, what do? You can't force
Here's-
somebody to buy the house.
Overall, here's an option for investors or flippers. You have to decide when you're investing and flipping into a space, are you going to fix this up to sell it, or are you going to fix this up and rent it out? So you already have that mindset. If it comes down and you cannot get it sold, you can switch your mindset
Mhm.
and rent it out. So I'd say if a seller or a buyer backed out and you can't get any other offers, you might have to switch your mindset
Right.
on the house. But if you spent a lot of money on that house and you have very high end finishes,
Just send it.
don't rent it
Sell it.
out.
Just get rid of it.
Yep, find another buyer, figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time we don't see people back out the day before without a reason.
Right.
It's not just because they changed their mind the day before. It's usually a financial reason.
Right.
So then you just turn around and relist it and go crazy on the marketing.
Right.
So what would you do if your rental stayed vacant for 60 plus days? You won't worry about that here.
No.
No, not for 60 plus
And
days.
if you do, it's because your rent's too high.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
There
I was
again.
going to say drop your rent.
People
price,
can't
but-
afford, if you're renting a nice house for $2,500, there's just not a big market for that.
Well, yeah, because you can buy a house and do that. You can buy
Right.
a newer apartment,
so
rent a new apartment. So you're not going to usually see that unless it's another issue that you're seeing.
and on the flip side of that, though, if your rental sits vacant for 60 days, maybe you need to consider doing some work to it.
Do some work, drop the price, figure out.
But the rental
yourself.
market has been very,
Yeah.
very good. So I just
Yeah, I was going to say there's renters.
if you have that problem, it's either the rent is
It's
too
you.
high or it needs work.
It's
and you need to figure out which one it is.
Yep. Yeah. I was gonna say it's not the renters. There's plenty of people renting because there's people between houses. There's people saving up. There's people who just don't want to deal with.
Or just starting
the maintenance.
jobs. Or
Yep.
Yeah.
People moving here, moving away. So
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I like doing that. What would you do? Ted?
What would you do?
Yeah. What would you do in some of these situations?
Can't remember that guy's name on that TV show, but it doesn't matter.
I think should definitely do some more of these because it's kind of nice in seeing both sides of it, not just realtor, but being the buyer, the seller, the investor. So
maybe we'll do some role playing next time.
oh yeah, act it out.
Yeah.
Sean just wants to have his acting career
I'm just
start.
gonna wear my top hat or something and talk in an accent.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I have to go respond to an offer. So
All right.
I gotta go.
Enjoy
Bye.
your week. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, like.
And remember, who you work with matters.